Okay, we're gonna try to film this before the hotel calls me that I am late for my checkout, so fingers crossed we get this done in time without any interruptions. But for this video, we're going to get into what the Virgo solar eclipse happening on September 20th means, because this is the second Virgo new moon technically, and it is the last eclipse of this year, showing probably the most important new beginning that you're dedicating yourself to over the next 6 months. So if you're excited to get into what exactly we can expect from this solar eclipse in Virgo, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you are always up to date with what the stars have in store for you. If you're new or you forgot my name, I am Maren. If you want a reading from me, you can check that out below. I also now have my own AI, Maren AI, that is still beta, but you can join and talk to it about your chart. So definitely try that out at the link below. So I misspoke. This is actually happening on September 21st, 2025 at 12:54 p.m. Pacific time. So it'll be later in the afternoon or evening in other parts of the world. And this is a solar eclipse, meaning that it's technically a new moon. The sun and the moon are together, but because it's on the ecliptic, aka the sun's orbit, which are what constitutes eclipses, this is a very intense new moon on steroids, basically. It's more important than a regular new moon, and it shows the beginning of something that will continue to grow over the next 6+ months. So even though we already had a new moon in Virgo happening at the end of August, this is like the more important new moon in Virgo that will be a bigger new beginning around the same topics. So if there's something that started in your life at the end of August that corresponds with the Virgo house in your chart, it's really likely that this is going to be the more important, more significant new beginning about that same topic. Now, what's interesting about this solar eclipse is that even though a solar eclipse is a new beginning, this is on the south node of the moon, and the south node has to do with openness, receptivity, generosity, or letting go. So this is a new moon, and technically a solar eclipse, obviously, that constitutes being open to receiving and seeing what happens, rather than forcing or obsessing over the progress or the future about this part of your life. So this is more about a new beginning that involves letting go or not having as much attachment and seeing where life leads you and getting rid of things that you might have focused on in the past. So it's still a Virgo solar eclipse. It still involves detail-orientedness and responsibility, but you are seeing where the universe guides you and seeing what is being delivered to you to start rather than obsessing about forcing it. This is happening at 29 degrees of Virgo, which is the last degree. And Virgo is a Mercury-ruled sign, and Mercury is the planet of communication and logic. So obviously with Virgo, there is an intelligent, detail-oriented quality to that. And this is happening in the third decan of Virgo, or the third of Virgo, which is also ruled by Mercury. It's associated with the 10 of Pentacles tarot card, known as the Lord of Wealth. And it usually shows that you built yourself up to a really amazing, really admirable place. Like you literally built yourself up to a certain degree of progress and of admiration, and you're now looking at it. And in the context of this solar eclipse, you're like, okay, I am okay with that part of my life ending. What's the next step that this is going to lead me to? Like you got to the top of that mountain, and now you're not attached to what you got to, and you're now seeing where you're going next. Now, this is a partial solar eclipse, so this is not a total solar eclipse. So the energy of this is like 50% intensity, I would say. There was a total lunar eclipse at the beginning of the month that was a more specific, intense ending. This being a partial solar eclipse shows that it's not necessarily the most intense, dramatic, or like energetic solar eclipse. It's still a new beginning on steroids and still something more important than would have happened at the end of August, but this is not something that I would be too concerned about being an overall rehaul of your life. This does have a tight opposition to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So Saturn has recently retrograded back into Pisces, and having this eclipse opposite Saturn shows blockages, responsibility, or a clear roadblock that is in the way and putting a damper on this. So Saturn shows slowness and something directly being in the way. Like there's a definite roadblock to this. So although this doesn't necessarily show volatility or conflict, it shows definitely a door closed or a hardship that is in the way of this fully manifesting. There's also an out of sign opposition to Neptune. Neptune is still in Aries, but it's at 0 degrees. So there's a pretty close close opposition, and an opposition to Neptune can show confusion and lack of clarity. So although this is in Virgo and that usually wants to have a handle on things and know every possible kind of reality that could show up, having an opposition to Saturn and Neptune shows there's blockages and there's confusion. You do not know the way that you're going to get to this place, but like, I've heard other people say this, so this isn't my own idea, but like, fuck the how. Like, don't think about how you're going to get to whatever you're doing because that's not going to make sense right now and there's shit in the way. Think about the end destination and see what like energetic situations you can put yourself in to be receptive. Because with an eclipse on the South Node, that's much more about opening up or being receptive than forcing or making something happen yourself. Venus is also in Virgo and it is square Uranus in Gemini. So this shows that even though there's some help regarding relationships in this, Venus in the same sign as the eclipse shows more amiability or harmony in relationships. The square to Uranus shows instability or randomness and volatility with people's actions around this time. This isn't bad, but it definitely shows that people are more on edge or not really acting like themselves and being a bit chaotic with their behavior. And Mars is at the very end of Libra. Mars is at 29 degrees of Libra and it's opposite Chiron in Aries. This shows that you could feel very emotionally on edge or easily triggered around this time. Like everything that's going on around you seems to hit you really hard and hurt your feelings. This does not specifically have to do with this eclipse, but the energy of relationships around us is a little bit chaotic and rather sensitive. So that's something to keep in mind with if you're involving like other people in this event around this time. So although this isn't necessarily the easiest eclipse, it's definitely not a bad eclipse. It shows a more developed new beginning around something you would have started at the end of August that will encompass the next 6 months, although it's important to be receptive and open rather than force this new beginning. So now let's get into what this means for each of the rising signs. This is going to show up based on your rising sign, not your sun sign, and this is what it means for you and how you can expect this to manifest. So Virgo risings, this is in your first house of self. You could have started something around your identity or your behavior and your personality in August, and this is a more pronounced, developed new beginning about something you're putting effort into that could even involve something like weight loss or eliminating something from your physique or personality, like you're getting rid of something and that's a new chapter. For Libra risings, this is in your 12th house of mental health and spirituality. So you could be taking something out of your life and starting a new chapter of mental health based on that being really important. For Scorpio risings, this is in your 11th house of networking or friends. So you could be joining a group of people or aligning yourself socially with a new group that is different and involve letting go of an old social network. For Sagittarius risings, this is in your 10th house of career. So this looks like you are opening yourself up to a very different new beginning and trajectory in your career that you could have already started in August. For Capricorn risings, this is in our 9th house of long distance travel, education, or authority, like legal matters. So this could be that you're either starting the beginning of the end of something that you're in school for. It could show that you are ending your time abroad and deciding to bring that to a close. Or it could show that if you're in any like legal or any kind of matter that involves paperwork, like immigration even, that is beginning to come to a close. For Aquarius risings, this is in your 8th house of shared finances and investments. So this can show that you are starting to pay off or starting to end your alignment with another party financially, and you are deciding to turn a new leaf around that. Now, for Pisces risings, this is in your 7th house of committed serious relationships. So this can show the beginning of a new relationship or the beginning of a new partnership because of opening yourself up and eliminating previous partnerships. For Aries risings, this is in your 6th house of physical health or wellness, which can show that you are starting to focus on a new physical health matter because you want to eliminate something from your life physically. And this could also show coworkers, so it could show that you are opening yourself up to working with new people, and there's a new employment chapter for people around you. If you're a Taurus rising, this is in your 5th house of dating, creativity, or kids. So this can show that you are starting a new romantic chapter in your life based on opening yourself up and having less of a priority in something else. It could show that you are starting a new creative matter because of ending or getting rid of a different creative priority, or it could show that you are deciding to start something around children because of letting go of or opening yourself up to something that allows you to have that. If you are a Gemini rising, this is in your 4th house of home and family. It could show that you're moving somewhere new or you're starting something new with your family in kind of a fresh start because you've cleared out that part of your life. If you are a Cancer rising, this is in your third house of communication and productivity. So it could show that you're starting something new with writing, content, or a project because you have finished up a previous routine that you were working on. And then for Leo risings, this is in your second house of income or money. It can show that you're making income in a new way because you spent a lot of money or put your money towards something. So you're now starting to make money in a new way as a result of that. So I don't have my tarot cards with me, so I cannot pull a tarot card for this eclipse, sadly, but I can say that I still would not manifest around this eclipse. I would not start anything in your life. I would firmly see what the universe is bringing to you and what starts. And you're already going to get a hint because it's the same area that you might have started something around at the end of August. So chill. Relationships could be a little bit sensitive and chaotic around this time, even if they have nothing to do with the eclipse itself. So know that as we get into the end of September, this new beginning is going to be clearer and calmer, and the energy is going to become more balanced and consistent. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and we made it. The people have not realized I have not left my room yet, so I need to get to the airport and back to LA, sadly. Please help me manifest moving back to New York and leaving the hellhole that is California. Anyway, hope that you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment down below about how you're feeling about this eclipse season, and I will see you in the next one.
There is one thing you're all forgetting, that endless morning will turn to night.